Have you ever wondered why your body reacts before your mind has time to think? Someone says something sharp and your chest just tightens. You want to reply, but the words don't come. Or you walk into a room and suddenly you feel nervous for no reason. You know you are fine, or you should be. You know it's not a big deal, but your body reacts like you are in danger or not safe. And it happens to all of us. We all have different triggers. Today I will show you why that happens and how you can finally change these reactions. And it all starts with one simple truth. Most of what runs us day to day isn't conscious thought. It's memory. Not the kind of memory you can recall, but emotional memory stored deep inside your nervous system. Like the roots of a tree, they set the pattern long before the branches exist. So the way the tree grows, bends and responds to the world starts deep underground. And when you nurture the soil and tend to the roots, everything above the surface begins to change. So when you were younger, you had to make sense of the world without the tools you have now as an adult. So your mind came up with rules to keep you safe. If I stay quiet, there won't be conflict. If I do everything right, I will be loved. If I disappear, I can't get hurt. So those weren't just ideas, they become survival programs, shaping how your brain learned to protect you. The problem is your mind never got the update that you've grown up. It is still running those same programs, even though your life is different now. That's why you can know your triggers, you can understand your story, you can say all the right affirmations, but when pressure hits, your body still reacts. Because understanding alone doesn't change the wiring. Real transformation doesn't come from simply knowing. It comes from seeing the pattern clearly, understanding where it's begun, and changing it from the inside out. So your subconscious mind, the part that runs the show, finally feels safe enough to do something different. Until that happens, the old patterns unfortunately stay. You might quiet them for a while, but they return when stress or fear shows up, because the body holds on to what hasn't been released and healed yet. So think of it like a splinter under the skin. You can put a bandage on it, you can avoid touching it, but until it is actually taken out, it still hurts. So the mind works the same way. Until the emotion that got stuck is brought up and released, it keeps firing the same signal. Protection, protection, safety, safety, or whatever runs yours. So you can't reason with the signal. You have to feel it safely, release it, and replace it with something new. That's what I help people with rapid transformational therapy and hypnotherapy. We start with the mind, the subconscious patterns, the old rules, and the emotions that got stuck there. Because when the mind understands and releases what created the pattern, the body can finally follow. And sometimes the body doesn't change at the same pace. Sometimes the body still remembers. So we work with the mind first, and then the body slowly updates its response. Or I give some somatic exercises. And when both start to feel safe, body and mind, everything will shift. So you stop freezing, you stop overreacting, you stop living as if danger is still there. Because your whole system finally learns that it's not dangerous any longer. So let me give you an example. A client once told me, whenever someone raises their voice, even if they are not angry, I just shut down. My chest tightens, my throat closes, and I feel like a child waiting to get in trouble, and I can't get the words out. I just freeze. She thought she was overreacting. She thought she needed to be stronger. but none of that was true. So as we worked together, she began to see where this reaction was born. She suddenly remembered being a little girl, standing in a doorway while adults argued. Every sharp voice, every slammed drawer, every raised tone felt like danger. So she learned a simple survival rule. Stay quiet, stay small, and that's how you stay safe. It wasn't a choice. It was a protection of her mind. And even as an adult, her mind and body were still following that rule automatically. So in our session, she didn't just notice it. She understood the exact moment the pattern began. And once she understood it, we could release the fear tied to it and update the rule underneath. And that's when shift happened. The old pattern finally began to change. The following week, she told me, something happened at work. Someone spoke sharply, and I just didn't freeze. I stayed present. I stayed in my body. I heard the words and not the threat. For the first time in her life, her body didn't brace, and her system started to learn a new rule. Loud doesn't mean danger any longer. This is the real change. This is the transformation. Not forcing yourself to act differently, but feeling different in the exact moment. So the old pattern doesn't take over. So when your body reacts in ways you don't understand, like tight chest, frozen words, panic or guilt, remember, this isn't your fault. It's an old wiring still doing its job. So you can't delete the past, and listen to this carefully, but you can teach your mind and body a new way to respond. And that starts with awareness. Not judging reaction or yourself, but understanding what is your mind trying to protect you from. So next time it happens, just pause for a moment. Take one slow breath, not just to calm yourself and your nervous system, but to give yourself enough space to notice what's happening. Feel what your body is doing. Is your chest tightening? Is your stomach dropping? Is your jaw clenching? Just noticing it is already a shift, because in that moment, you are not inside the pattern. You're actually observing it from a distance. And then when you observe it, you give your mind time to realize that the reaction belongs to an old situation and not to this one. You don't change this by forcing yourself to be stronger or by pushing the feeling away. You change it by giving your system a tiny, tiny moment of safety right there. So the old pattern doesn't get to take over automatically. And when that starts happening, your nervous system learns a new way. You stop reacting from survival and you start responding from the present. The past doesn't vanish, but it stops running the show. That's the real power of release and rewiring. Your body stops jumping into old alarm mode, and you can stay present enough to choose a different response. If any part of this familiar, share in the comments which reaction you're ready to break free from. And subscribe, so each week we can keep exploring how to work with your mind and body from inside out, and how to live a more fulfilled life.